My husband changed our baby's name while I was unconscious after birth. I woke up after childbirth with tears in my eyes, but they weren't from joy, they were from betray. My name is Sarah, I'm 28, married for 4 years. And I just became a mother. It was supposed to be the happiest moment of my life, but instead, it became the moment I started doubting everything. Let me start at the beginning. I was pregnant with our first baby. A girl, our rainbow baby after 2 painful miscarriages. We were beyond careful this time. Every appointment, every supplement, every hope. And we had the name picked for months. Liana. It was the name I'd dreamed of since I was 16. It meant soft and gentle, and it was perfect. My husband, Omar, liked it too. He said it was beautiful. He even wrote it on sticky notes and stuck them on the fridge, saying, Liana's bottle, Liana's blanket, Liana's car seat. We were ready, then the due date came. And everything changed. Labor was long, painful. I was in there for 27 hours. Eventually, the doctor said I needed an emergency C-section. I was exhausted, scared, barely conscious. They gave me anesthesia, and I blacked out. When I woke up, I was in recovery. Tubed, sore, emotional, but I smiled, because I thought, she's here, my Liana is here. Omar was by my side. Holding our daughter, I looked at her, tiny, wrapped in pink. Eyes closed. She was perfect. She's here, I whispered. Liana. Omar didn't react, he just smiled awkwardly. She's beautiful, right? I nodded, but I felt strange. Off. He was hiding something. A nurse walked in, holding some documents. She said, Hi mama, we filed the name certificate, little Mira is all set. Mira, not Liana, Mira. I blinked. I think he got the name wrong. Her name is Liana. The nurse paused. Your husband filled it out while you were in recovery. He said there was a change. My world froze. I looked at Omar. He didn't meet my eyes, just stared at the floor. You changed her name? He shifted. I panicked. Sarah, Liana didn't feel right. Mira just came to me. It sounds modern, strong, easy to say. But it wasn't your choice to make, I snapped. We decided together. You knew how much that name meant to me. He stayed quiet, like a coward. The nurse awkwardly left. I was too weak to yell, but inside, I was screaming. He sat beside me, tried to touch my hand. I pulled away. You stole something from me, I said. From us, from her. He started crying. Sighed. He didn't mean harm, said he was overwhelmed. Sighed he just felt it in his heart. But I didn't care, because when I was unconscious, he made a decision that wasn't his to make. The next few days in the hospital were awkward. I couldn't stop staring at the birth certificate. Mira Ahmed. That name meant nothing to me. It wasn't my dream. It wasn't our plan. I told my mom what happened. She was furious. This isn't a little mistake, Sarah. This is a red flag. But I wasn't ready to see it. Not yet. I still loved him. I still wanted this family. When we got home, I brought it up again, asked him to change it back. Omar got defensive. You always get your way. This time, I made a choice too. She's my daughter as much as she's yours. I was shocked. You think this is about power? This was about honoring our decision. I'll promise. You broke it. We fought for days. For weeks, I stopped calling her Mira. I whispered Liana when I held her. Because in my heart, that's who she was. Friends came over. Sighed. Mira is such a cute name. I'd smile politely. But inside, it killed me every time. Finally, I saw a lawyer, asked what my options were. He said, it's not easy. You both signed. It would take a petition, court approval, and possibly Omar's consent. I felt trapped. Until one day, Omar's sister Alia came to visit. She pulled me aside. Sarah, I need to tell you something about the name. I stared at her. What about it? He didn't panic, he planned it. My blood went cold. What do you mean? He told me a month before delivery that he wasn't sure about Liana. Said he might change it after you gave birth. I told him not to. But I guess he did it anyway. I felt like vomiting. It wasn't a slip. It was a lie. A scheme. A betrayal. That night, I confronted him again. You planned this? His face twisted. I didn't want to fight you while you were pregnant. You were so emotional. I thought you'd come around. I shook my head. Tears falling. You waited until I was unconscious to get your way. That's not love, Omar. That's control. He apologized, begged, cried. But I was already dialing the court clerk, filed the petition, submitted the name I had always chosen, the one I whispered in the womb. The one I spoke before she even had a heartbeat. Daddy tried to stop me. Said we should talk it out. Said I was being unreasonable, but I was done talking. Because when I needed him to honor my voice, he silenced it. The court date is set. I don't know what will happen, but I know one thing for sure, I will fight to give my daughter her true name back. Asterisk the day of the court hearing came. I had barely slept that every hour. I'd stare at my daughter, hold her in my arms, whisper her name, Liana, the name she was always meant to have. Omar didn't speak to me that morning. He was angry, quiet, cold, but I wasn't afraid of his silence anymore. I had found my strength. We arrived at family court. Filed in, sat on opposite benches. Omar's lawyer was there. I didn't have one, just my truth and a file of evidence. The judge, an older woman, looked at the documents. Birth certificate, hospital records, my petition. Mrs. Ahmed, she said, you claim the name was changed without your consent? I nodded, hands trembling. Yes, Your Honor, I was unconscious after an emergency C-section. The name we had chosen together, Liana, was replaced by my husband without discussion. The judge raised an eyebrow. Mr. Ahmed, Omar stood up. Your Honor, I wasn't trying to deceive my wife. I panicked. I chose the name Mira in the moment. It felt right. I looked him dead in the eye. You didn't panic. You told your sister a month before delivery that you planned to change it. Without telling me. The judge leaned forward. Is that true, Mr. Ahmed? Omar fumbled. I may have had doubts, but I didn't mean harm, she sighed. Intentional or not, this is a serious matter. A child's name's a parental decision, not a solo one. She gave us a break while she reviewed everything. I sat in the hallway with Liana in my arms. Omar came near, but I stopped him with one look. I trusted you, I whispered. And you broke that? I don't know if I can ever forgive that. He looked ashamed, but didn't speak. He didn't have the right words. Because there weren't any. We were called back in. The judge made her ruling. Based on the evidence, the child's name will be legally changed to Liana Sarah Ahmed. This court acknowledges that the decision made by the father was done without full consent of the mother during a time she was medically incapacitated. Tears streamed down my face. Not just from victory, but from relief. Justice had been served, and Liana finally had her name back. Omar didn't speak to me for 2 days. Then he tried to apologize. I made a mistake, he said. I didn't realize how badly I hurt you. I thought I was helping, but I was wrong, I nodded. But stayed quiet, because now I didn't trust apologies. I trusted actions. We began counseling. Not for romance, but for co-parenting. Because love can't survive without respect. And he had lost mine. Liana turned 3 months old. She smiled, laughed, recognized my voice. Every time I whispered her name, she looked up, like she knew I had fought for her identity. Then one day, Omar's sister Aliyah came to visit again. She held Liana and smiled. She's strong, just like her mother. That night, I sat alone on the balcony, and I asked myself the hardest question. Can I stay married to a man who took my voice during my weakest moment? The answer came not in a scream, but in a whisper. No, I filed for separation. Omar cried, begged, blamed stress. But I didn't flinch. I had found my strength again. People said I was breaking my family. But the truth was, Omar already had. When he changed her name, he changed our bond. Months passed. We created a custody plan. A routine. He gets Liana 2 weekends a month. I get every other moment. He sometimes calls her Mira by mistake. She doesn't respond, because that's not her name. Not in her soul. Not in mine. I've gone back to work. Started saving. Started dreaming again, and every night when I tuck her in I whisper, you are Liana, strong, gentle, and yours to protect. No one will take your name again. This isn't just a story about a name. It's about identity, about betrayal, and about the quiet fight to be heard. People think that time heals everything, but time only does one thing. It reveals what's real, what was fake, and what was never coming back. It's been almost a year since Liana was born, since Omar made a decision that shattered the foundation of our marriage. He still sees her. Twice a month, he tries, brings new toys, bakes cookies sometimes, buys her things she doesn't even understand yet, but he doesn't see what I do every single day. Her first crawl, her first wave, her first word. It wasn't Baba, it was Mama. After I filed for separation, Omar tried to fight it. He didn't want the label. Didn't want people to know, but I didn't care what it looked like from the outside. I cared about peace on the inside. Some nights, I still replay it. Waking up in that hospital bed, hearing the nurse call her Myra. I remember the ache, the anger, the disbelief. And the sound of Omar's silence. That silence hurt the most. He used to call me strong, independent, the woman he respected. But when I needed his respect most, he took advantage of my silence. That wasn't love. That was control. My mom moved in for a few months to help with the baby. She kept me going on days I could barely get out of bed, and every time she whispered Liana's name, it felt like a victory. A small reminder. I fought back. And I won. But inside me, there was still a wound. A quiet question. Why did he really do it? Then one day, I got an answer I didn't expect. Aliyah, Omar's sister, came over again. She looked worried. Uneasy. We sat on the balcony. She pulled out her phone. Sarah, there's something I've been meaning to tell you. Something about Mayra. My heart dropped. What is it? She showed me a photo. A woman, maybe in her mid-30s, holding a little boy. Her name was Mayra. Omar dated her before you. They were together for 3 years. I froze. What? They broke up? But he never let go of her. When he found out she got married and moved abroad, he spiraled. The blood drained from my face. You mean he named our daughter after his ex? She nodded. I told him it was wrong. He said it wasn't about her. He said the name just meant something to him. But I knew. We all knew. My hands were shaking. It wasn't just betrayal. It was obsession, delusion. He didn't panic. He didn't choose randomly. He chose her, over me. Over his daughter. I couldn't breathe. I felt sick. Thank you for telling me, I whispered. That night I stared at Liana as she slept on my chest. She looked like me. Her fingers curled the same way mine did. Her eyelashes long and soft. She was mine. Not a second chance for his ex. Not a replacement. Not a name to soothe his broken ego. I picked up my phone, texted him. We need to talk. He replied immediately. Everything okay? No, come tomorrow, alone. When he showed up, I didn't waste time. I pulled out the photo of Mayra. You named her after this woman? Your ex? He froze, jaw clenched, eyes guilty. It's not what you think? Then explain it. Because all I see is a man who couldn't let go of the past, so he handed it to our daughter. He sighed, sat down. I didn't plan to. But when I saw her, I just thought of that time. Before the losses, before the pain. Mayra meant something stable to me. I shook my head. You didn't just steal a name. You stamped another woman on my daughter's life without asking me. He said sorry, but his voice was hollow. He didn't understand. He never would. I stood up. You'll see her twice a month, nothing more, nothing less. And if I ever hear you call her Mayra again, I will take it to court. He nodded. Silent again, because silence was his favorite language when guilt finally caught up. The next day, I filed the final divorce. Papers. No more separation. No more waiting. No more pretending. The woman who walked out of that courthouse wasn't broken. She was reborn. I moved cities. Started a small online business. Liana started crawling, then walking, then running. She grew into the very meaning of her name. Soft, gentle, brave. Sometimes I still hear that nurse's voice, saying, Mayra. But I don't flinch anymore, because I won. Not against Omar, but against the part of me that thought I had to stay silent to keep the peace. Liana will grow up knowing the truth, that her mother fought for her name, her identity, her dignity, and when she asks one day, Mama, why did you choose Liana? I'll smile and say, because that name came from love, not from someone else's story, but from mine. And maybe that's what motherhood really is, not just diapers and lullabies, but the courage to protect when no one else will.